astrology forecast, tarot forecast for everybody's transitions here be the start to me bringing back readings for also each sun sign. Remember that it'll also apply possibly to your moon, your rising, or your Venus. And a way for you to check those positions is astro.com. And if you're not able to put in your birth hour, do the best you can to guess. You will be able to see at least your moon and your personal planets. You will not be able to know your rising sign. To give you all a heads up, you know, your astrology chart is like your blueprint. It helps you to see what is in your astrology as far as not necessarily your horoscope, but what your patterns are. Moon is the reactions, rising is your ego, your inner self. Venus is how you love and how you are in affairs with people. The moon could represent what your mom is like, Venus can represent your wife, and Jupiter can represent husband or father, so your children. Same with also the 5th house. Let's go back to the astrology. So we're coming to this ecliptical period too, this full moon in Gemini. New moon is when we start a project or possibly a relationship, things that we want to begin, things that are meant to happen for you or aligned with your frequency, they're aligned with your path, they will manifest easier. If you feel some stagnation, it is likely because it is not the road that you're meant to be on, or it's a relationship or situation that you're meant to close. There's so much that we deal with in the world that we can't just focus on one form of relationships. Looking at situations right now with Venus about to retrograde tomorrow in Capricorn in a place that it's not happy, how certain relationships may be presently, and whether or not we are meant to have them in our world, and if those things are creating stagnation. The same with business, because Venus also rules business affairs as well. If things aren't working out or panning out for you on the financial or the business perspective, are you really where you're meant to be? Sometimes we're sticking ourselves in a role that we don't belong in. The way that I like to give an analogy is as if we're trying to put shoes on that don't fit anymore or that belong to somebody else. Now you're squeezing into them and they're too tight. One other thing is to realize that we could be stopping ourselves from meeting the tribes that we're meant to meet. We can also be stopping or stagnating things for other people that are meant to be in the role that you are taking on. Therefore, we should look at, or it's best to analyze, I don't want to say should. People still have free will, so you could still make your own choices and your decisions. You could throw yourself off the course of a path. But what does manifest for you? What are you aware of is your path and your purpose? And if things are not working out in relationships and in financial or business situations, looking at that and analyzing it, if you take the direction that you're supposed to, things will start to move. Remember, this is a fulfillment that things that we were closing out that we thought were most wise for our path, some things could overwhelm if it's going beyond what it really needs to go towards, where it's good to be aware of this because it'll impact us whether we notice or not. The moon is opposing the sun, so there's two magnetic forces pulling on both sides of the planet, of our emotions being the moon and the sun being our soul body. That's the stress or strain that can be possible presently with the moon. Moon is our reactions, our emotions, our mind, and then wherever it's transiting could be transiting over one of your planets or your actual sun sign. It's nice to kind of open up to seeing how these things can impact our lives and our situations. Venus retrograde December the 19th and Chiron going direct. Sun is going to be in Capricorn on the 21st. Looking at things again where it's the relationship aspects, business situations, because Venus is not happy in Capricorn, where it might feel karmic, then it's good to be aware of what really is coming to us, and are these people meant to be in our life, aware of what signs are coming in that's showing us stagnation in those areas, or does show us things that could move for us. Chiron is the wounded healer within us. It's in Aries, so that would be the ego. Now that it's going direct, we may be seeing some of the things that during the retrograde may have been hurt by our ego. If we could see in our ego position any harm or hurt that's present there, that we can overcome these challenges, and then it'll be a power for us. Whatever was the wound can help us empower ourselves or others. This energy also with Capricorn present with the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto, and Venus is in Capricorn, can be a restart, a reset in situations, be a focus on the goals that we want to embody. But one good focus that we could put in presently in the things that we want to solidify can empower ourselves with people that we could create a synergy with. Saturn Uranus square is coming up on the 23rd, and this is a difficulty for us because we may not see karma that's coming through that's inhumane, the deception that is coming through presently. Jupiter coming back to Pisces, it was in that position earlier this year, that there can be some endings to things with Pluto and Venus together hanging out, as well as all this other Capricorn in the air. What could be a loss presently? You're best to see what is outside of the illusion, because we could create things that are more structured and that you're meant to have around you, you and your soul tribe. Sometimes we have to have certain endings with things so that we could start our new chapter and start fresh. Aside from the heavy astrology, quieting the mind comes up. We can quiet our mind by meditating, walking, if the weather permits, or doing something at home that is nature-like, bringing nature to you. Expressions. Social media is huge right now. This is the way that we're able to communicate. Even if there's some parts of us that can't communicate on some platforms, still allow yourself to share your voice and be heard. We have Unbound coming up. Releasing soul patterns, contracts, if there are situations or circumstances, again, whether it's some people that are in your actual blood family, your soul tribe, old friends, whatever type of the relationship it is, there's some situations that the contract needs to be broken. Stop that pattern from perpetuating. Whether they're family or whatever role they play, are they really conducive to serving your highest purpose right now? You make space for the things that actually can develop and can be most beneficial to you and all involved. If we stagnate ourselves, we can stagnate other people too. We're not here to create harm. Think about, well, even if I have to let someone go, I could be hurting them by enabling them to be the way that they are towards you and others. Cut that pattern so that you possibly can see a shift for them as well. I mean, how are they going to learn that lesson? Learning how to cut ties with situations or create a distance or create a boundary. Who really serves our path, our purpose, our role in this timeline. Possibilities is also coming up. An endless amount of possibilities that could be available. Baby steps in situations or circumstances. Synchronizing. It's okay if something goes slow. Babies aren't born overnight. Being able to know that when you plant the seeds for the things you desire, that you nurture them to grow at their time. There's no need to rush, but there are possibilities available. That medicine is being able to be independent. And it's not like we have to stay away from everybody, but being able to know and judge when we should be in a certain place at a certain time, and if it's beneficial to ourselves or others. The boundaries need to be created right now. We have a Two of Air, so if things don't seem like they're going the right direction, there's a pause or a stalemate that needs to occur. Give it a moment. Sometimes with Two of Air or Two of Swords, that even if there's a moment of a stalemate, you need enough data or information before you move forward. Maybe this direction shouldn't be moved towards at all. It's okay to say that you need to pause on something right now. It is the healthy boundaries that is most important, and being around the right frequencies, the right people, the right place, and the right time, synchronizing to the right thing. I know we may feel guilty by saying no or creating a boundary with people, but this would be a power for us presently. Now I'm going to start to read each sign, and then just keep in mind that the astrology is difficult this month, the end of the month, and coming in through the year of 2022. But that doesn't mean that in the things that we could actually raise our frequency in or be successful in, that there's no possibility. The possibilities are still present, but it's about us seeing the truth, not to create harm. What makes us humane is our hearts. What makes this planet beautiful is love. To love whatever it is that you love. Whether it is something just very simple or even loving a soulmate, could even be your cat. And every day is a way. Not every day is gonna be candy and roses. The ocean always could have either high waves or the tides can be relaxed and calm, or there could be sharks in the water. Being aware of how life is a wave, it's not always going to flow all the time the way that you expect it to. Let's just keep moving. We don't have to be attached to every single circumstance, upset because it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to work out. Sometimes that rejection is a protection because it's not the path that you're meant to be on. It's going to create a problem for you and others. Something is closing. Of course, we are allowed to mourn. Of course, we are allowed to be sad, but don't let it envelop your whole entire day. If something goes wrong, try your best to see how there is a positive out of the circumstance and why maybe you're being prevented from something happening. There could be a good reason for the lack of movement, and let's try to go towards what really creates movements for us right now. Let's see what is the most humane and what really comes from the heart center.